this game on an Apple IIc. It had a color monitor. Many people had amber and green monitors only at the time, but the game was called Oregon Trail, and it was actually made by a nonprofit group and translated into many different formats and forums. There's actually a card game I play now. I played with my kids. But how many of you played Oregon Trail, like in some capacity? Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? So like it's kind of a multi-generational thing at this point. I played on the very old, terrible version of it. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever. The funny thing about Oregon Trail was you were a pioneer kind of trying to make your way across the country, and I had never read about the Oregon Trail at all, so I'm playing this game out of context. Finally, when I learned about the Oregon Trail, that was cool. But I remember as a kid playing this game, trying to make your way across the USA, and finding out just how brutal and difficult, how many people died along the way. Number one disease? Exactly, dysentery. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I'm not a... Oh, wow. Really, I do have a college degree, I promise. I was a big reader, so I would always mispronounce words. Anybody like that? Like you read these big words and you store them and you know what they mean, but they just come out wrong, all the time. I had terrible trouble with that. But this game was brutally difficult, and it wasn't fun to play a lot of the time. Like I would keep playing it to try to survive and see how many people didn't die with me on my journey. If you ever made it to the end, you know how fulfilling that was. I don't ever think my full party made it. I don't think they let you do that, unless you did, and then more power to you. But I never got with everybody, but I'd make it sometimes. And we admire pioneers. Like we look in the world of technology and medicine. We like the idea of hard work and risk and achieving great things. We like to see technological innovations. We like to see people achieve great things and build great things. And so sometimes that becomes really what we look for in these pioneers in our world. And for Israel, in the early parts of the Old Testament rather, Moses is one of those pioneers. He's huge. And to today, still very highly admired by the Jewish folks because of his leadership ability. This is the guy, and this is Charlton Heston. This is not, I didn't have a real picture of Moses. But for Israel, Moses was just Superman, basically. He confronted Pharaoh. He parted the sea. He saved them. He got them out of slavery. He led them away from it. He delivered the law to them. He took them through the wilderness and made sure that their needs were met. This is just, in biblical history and in Jewish history, it's hard to imagine how big he is in their eyes. And so if Moses said something, you listened. And if Moses said, this is what we're going to do, you better heed what he has, because he has a special connection to God. God is in his ear. Now, I hope that you heard that language, because I'm going to come back to that idea in just a minute, because it's key to what we're talking about today. Moses was hearing God. He was hearing from God. But even Moses, when he taught, he said something really unique. He said that one time when God was speaking to him, that God told him that someone greater is coming. So I want to look at that scripture in the book of Deuteronomy with you today. It says, the Lord said to me, what they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites, and I will put my words in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. Moses pointed out that a greater prophet was coming, someone greater than himself. And I think for his audience, the hearers at that time in history, that would have been very difficult to believe. Someone greater than you is coming? Someone who has helped us escape slavery, someone who has parted the seas. Like, they're very enthralled with him. And so for him to say this is huge. But he makes a key distinction here that we easily miss, and that is this distinction that I just brought. The Lord said to Moses, Moses hears this, but the next prophet doesn't hear from God. The next prophet has the words from God. The next prophet is the word of God dwelling amongst us as flesh. Literally a different type of thing. It's like the game of telephone. If I were to start over here with a secret and we would pass it all the way across the room, by the end it would probably be something completely different. We did that in student ministry a lot. We would start at one end and, 10 kids, 20 kids, 30 kids. By the end, it didn't matter. It was totally awkward. Some of them were being funny guys and changing stuff up in the middle, I am sure, because it came out way too weird on the end usually. But Even if they tried their best, it was like, you get pizza if we get it right. It still would not be perfect because of that kind of the way that it comes through and the way that you hear it and the way that we translate it. But this was a difference, right? This was going to be completely different. God was not speaking to a prophet. Jesus was going to be one that would speak, and it is God speaking to the people. Everything I command them, he will tell them. This is a big difference. And the reason I bring this up is because we all follow someone. We want to think as independent as we love to be, and Western culture really idolizes that idea. The reality is we all use templates, we all use mentors, we all use coaches, we all see models and role models, and we all have someone we follow. It's not a matter of who you follow, right? There's a mentor, there's a parent, a coach, a boss at work, a spouse, a philosopher, an HOA president. I don't know what you're following. You're following something, right? And or maybe here's the deal. Maybe you're just following your own heart. Sometimes people say that. I'm just following my heart. That's not a good idea. Our hearts are all over the place, right? Our hearts are finicky little things. That's not a good idea. But the question isn't if you follow. The question is, who are you following? What is your role model? What is your model? And the question centrally to that really becomes, who deserves your trust enough to be your model? Well, Israel trusted Moses because he spoke for God, and it was verified through his actions, right? It was not just he spoke as someone smart or intelligent or even just a charismatic guy, which we know he was not. He spoke, and those things happened. He was able to do the things that God had said he would be able to do. And so slowly, it is frustrating. If you're reading through this part of the scriptures right now with us on the annual Bible reading plan, it's excruciating to see how Israel just up and down and up and down. And 1 minute they're listening to him, and the next minute they're building a golden calf, right? And it's just like, what is wrong with you people? But this is us. Like, we can't look back and say they're silly because it's us. It's all of us. It's humanity's key central issue. But Moses said, look, you trust me now because I've done all this in the name of God because he's given me this vision. But guess what? There's someone even greater coming. And this is what God has said to me here once again. I say, this is what God says. But Jesus speaks in a different way. Jesus will say, you have heard it said, but I say to you. And when you hear that language, when Jesus uses that in the New Testament, there's a transition. And the transition is this. Jesus is not speaking about something he's heard. He's speaking because he is God and man. It's a different way of looking at it. It's a different way of just hearing, or the words actually coming out of his mouth are directly from God. This is what Matthew says about it. He said, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, for he taught with real authority, quite unlike their teachers of religious law. So you had very smart people studying the scriptures and teaching, but they didn't speak with the kind of authority that Jesus spoke with. And so the crowds were amazed. They were mesmerized. They were enthralled with his teaching because he spoke as one with real authority. Moses had done amazing things. He showed them the way out of Egyptian slavery. But Jesus broke all the chains of sin, of evil, of death, of darkness. Moses gave the law, right? He brought the law down to the people. But Jesus showed grace beyond even our wildest of imaginations or dreams. Moses pointed the way forward and said, let's go this way. And Jesus came to fulfill all of it. Real authority. Moses says, I know the way. And people followed him. But Jesus comes in a different way and says, I am the way. In John 14:6, Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. There's a big difference in those two. And I don't know if you noticed the video at the beginning, but part of the symbolism in that video as it comes forward is it's very blurry at first, and then it comes into focus. And this is what happens from the Old Testament to New Testament transition. We see God in a burning bush, right? We read about God as a wind that falls and rises. But in the New Testament, we have the Word made flesh dwelling amongst us. God here with us. Emmanuel, at Christmas time we talk about, which is this idea of God with us. This is what the people had hungered for, and they received that gift in Jesus. Jesus doesn't just say, I know the way. Jesus says, I am the way. That is a big difference. And it changes how we trust and how we follow. I have talked before about my walks and how I love it when I can get up early enough and see the moon up still a little bit. Certain days you can do that. And certainly in certain parts of the year, it's easier to do than others. But I love to see the moon. If I'm driving to work and see the moon in the window of my truck, I try to say a little prayer and just say thank you, because I love that old idea from Meister Eckhart. The best prayer you might have is just thank you, God, or thank you, Lord. And I think that's beautiful. I think, when I see something like that, if I see nature, like a mountain or the ocean or something, I try to thank God, because I'm like, what an experience to get to see this. And I know that God didn't make the moon for me that day, but it's really cool to see that. And we have some beautiful sunrises and sunsets here as well. But I think of it in awe and wonder. Some of you know, I've told the story, I think years ago, on the anniversary of it happening, but there was a time that I shared about Jesus in India, and it went sideways for our group. I had taken a small group with me of college students and other people, and so basically the government was against me at that point in northern India, and we had to try to escape. And so they had a whole international incident kind of thing. We had to talk to people from the embassy. We had to talk to people from networks to get us out, and we were in a safe house before we left. So it was not a good ending to that trip. And one thing I remember is when I was in one of the vehicles that we were escaping in, that was not the vehicle we had come in. They were trying to get us out of there. The moon was out that night. And I thought about that moon. I thought about my kids. I'd left little kids back here. Stephen and Sam were young, and very, very young. And I saw that moon, and I thought, well, we're under the same moon tonight. And I don't know, that just has stuck with me throughout the rest of my life as I look at the moon and think about that. And then the other night I was in the hospital, and my dad was napping, and it was just me and him in there. And the moon came out, and I saw it through this big picture window in the hospital. And it was just kind of one of those reminders, once again, of God's with us, that idea. I know it's silly probably, but it just is one of those kind of reminders throughout my life that keeps coming back. And the curious thing about the moon is, and I find interesting, from a science perspective, is the moon has no light source. Like, the moon is just a floating rock, but it is reflective of the sun. It's reflecting the sun back at us. And I looked it up, and the moon is weaker, obviously. Obviously, our Earth is not lit up by the moon at night, but we only get 12% of the sun's light back to us. That's kind of what the reflection rate is, they have estimated. And that would be on an ideal night, right? The most light we would be getting back. So some nights it's much less, and obviously when it's covered, it's even less than that. But the moon is very different than the sun. It only reflects. And so in this story today for me, I was thinking about Moses kind of like the moon. Like, he's reflecting God's glory, but it's very dim. It's not perfect. It's not, the completeness of God's glory. And then you get Jesus, and he is more like the sun, and he's radiating the fullness of God's glory to us. And so when the sun rises, then the moon kind of fades out. And that's what happens here with the true and better idea. Jesus is this true and better leader than Moses. And so while Moses was a great leader, and we can read his history, he doesn't even get close to the brightness of God that we see in Jesus. And I hope what I'm helping you do is temper kind of your reading of the Old Testament, because while it is important, it is not equally valid to what happens when Jesus comes to be with us, because Jesus is this very clear representation of God, that God is love, that God is sacrifice, that God loves us, that he has sent Jesus for us as our rescue. And we don't get all of that in the Old Testament. It's why the Old Testament is very insufficient to tell us the whole story. It can lead us to a point, but then if we get to that point, we realize the depth of our need is still there. The same depth that had people crying out for the Messiah for generation after generation after generation. When the sun rises, the moon fades because something greater has appeared. I love what writer Leon Morris said. He wrote this once. He said, the rabbis spoke from authority. My emphasis on from there. And Jesus spoke with authority. The difference is significant. Jesus appealed to no other authority as he spoke to men of the deep things of God. I think that is really crucial and clear here that we must kind of understand that idea. If Jesus is greater than Moses, if Jesus speaks with deeper authority, if he fulfills what Moses pointed to, then following him is not risky, but it is quite safe because Jesus is the true and better. Right? Jesus is the fullness. If we understand a blurry picture of who God is in the Old Testament, it becomes much more clear through Jesus. We can follow him with confidence because he is this true and better leader. So here's a way that I think we could practice this week. And this is always I try to give you something to kind of grab onto. What about just a short practice this week where you spend a moment of surrender? And what does that look like? Well, what I'm talking about here is you could each morning of your week, just in a quick prayer, whether it's at breakfast or right when you wake up or on the drive to work, I do that sometimes, you just say, you verbally surrender your day to Jesus. It could look like, and I've shared this one many times with you that I use, here am I, Lord, send me. It's a very simple prayer. What do you have for me today, God? Maybe it'll go back to that invitation idea that we were talking about, blessing. Who do you want me to bless today, Lord? Maybe it's just as simple as, Jesus, I trust you to lead me today. Whatever challenges I face, I trust you in this moment. Help me to follow you today, Jesus. What I'm talking about is very short here. And then doing your best to look for those opportunities, to trust him, to be sent by him, to allow him to lead you, to follow Jesus. And as you find those opportunities, as they spark up, you use those moments